I was sitting in this beer joint down in Houston, Texas. Been drinking Colorado Kool-Aid and talking to some Mexicans. And we was, what's that you say? What's Colorado Kool-Aid? Well, it's a can of Coors, brewed from a mountain stream. It'll set your head on fire and make your kidneys stream. Oh, it sure is fine. Yeah, and we was having ourselves what you call one of them real good times. But you know, every beer joint that you've ever been in, some big mean drunk who just ain't got no friends, sure enough wants to fight. Yeah, he gonna whoop everything in sight. Well, sir, he took him a big cold swaller of beer, and he walked over and spit it in my Mexican friend's ear. Well, now, sure enough, that made my buddy real mad, 'cause that's something like he ain't never had. Well, sir, he pulled out a big, long switchblade knife, and quick as a whistle, he began to slice. That big, mean drunk stood back, his face full of tears, looking down at the floor at one of his ears. Well, he cut that thing off even with the sideburn. Now, you might say that that little old Mexican fella just didn't give a darn. But he was a gentleman about it. He bent over with a halfway grin, picked it up and handed it back to him. And he said, "Now, big man, you get the urge to spit a little beer, just open up your hand there and spit it in your own ear. Won't be no trouble that way." That's what I heard him say. And I said, "Barmaid, set us up a round of that Colorado Kool-Aid. And while you're up there, bring this fella a box of Band-Aids." Now, let me tell you, if you're ever riding down in South Texas and you decide to stop and drink some Colorado Kool-Aid and maybe talk to some Mexicans, and you get the urge to get a little tough, let me tell you, you better make damn sure you got your knife-proof earmuffs. Hey, ain't that right, big man? I said, ain't that right, big man? Oh, hell. He can't hear, not on this side anyway. He ain't got no ear. Hey, barmaid, bring us a big glass of that Colorado Kool-Aid. How about it? How you doing, big man? You still got your ear in your hand? Hey, Lordy. I recall the night that you came into this world. I couldn't believe the doctor when he said it's a little girl. Oh, I said, "Now, doc, you must be wrong. You see, I want a boy." Then he laid you in my arms, and my heart sang with joy. Recall the day I took you to a baseball game. You brought along your baby doll and half its baby things. We sat there a-playing house while the Dodgers played the Braves. And everyone in the bleachers looked at us as if to say, I recall the day I took you on a fishing trip. You said, "Daddy, won't that hook hurt the fish's lip?" And you said, "If they don't get air, those things in the can will die." So we turned the worms loose and chased some butterflies. recall the day that your young man come to call. Seems like only yesterday we swam and played football. But I know the time has come that I must set you free. But no matter where you are, you know what you are to me.
Well, I had 2 weeks vacation coming, so I thought I'd drive down to Florida, spend some time with an old friend, date a few girls, make a few parties, and just kind of live it up again. So I packed up my car, and then I called my mom in Tennessee and told her what I'd planned to do. And she said, "Son, are you coming by?" And I said, "Mom, I'm really pushed for time, but honey, I'll see you in a week or two." And I was driving through this little town in Georgia when I remembered today is Mama's birthday. Well, I thought I'd just stop and wire some flowers. Shouldn't take too long, then I'd be on my way. So I walked in the flower shop, and the first thing I saw was this little boy with his eyes full of tears. And I said, "Son, what's wrong?" And he said, "Mama loves roses, and today's her birthday, and I haven't seen her in almost a year."
Roses for Mama, today's her birthday. Roses for Mama, today's her birthday.
He said, "I live with Grandpa now, but I promised Mama some roses, 'cause I talk to her all the time. I wanted to give her 5, 'cause that's how old I am. But the lady said I couldn't buy them for just a dime." Well, the little feller's story kind of touched my heart. So I told the lady, just give him what he wanted and charge it to me. Well, that's when I told her to wire a dozen roses to my mama up in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. Well, I looked around, the little boy was gone. But all of a sudden, the door flew open and he came running back in. And he said, "Mister, I forgot to thank you for the roses." He smiled and shook my hand and ran back out again. Well, I started on out of town, and I was feeling real proud of myself for thinking of my mama and really caring. When I looked out my window, I saw that same little boy kneeling by a grave in an old cemetery. Well, I stopped my car and walked over to where the little boy was kneeling down, and he smiled up at me and he said, "This is where my mama stays. She says she sure does thank you for these pretty roses." Well, that's when I had to walk away, and I drove right back to that flower shop and I said, "Lady, have you sent those flowers to Tennessee?" And she said, "No, not yet." And I said, "Well, just never mind. I'll just take them back with me."
Roses for Mama, today's her birthday. Roses for Mama, today's her birthday.
On our little girl's 3rd birthday, she got a sandbox in the backyard to play. Sand was everywhere as she played and she laughed. I fussed at her, for it killed all my grass.
just turned 10. She got a bike to ride with all her friends. She skinned both her knees as she played and she laughed. I busted her, for it killed all my grass.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back.
When our little girl turned 17, we built her a pool in the backyard that spring. All her friends came and they swam and they splashed. I fussed at her, for it killed all my grass.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back.
My wife and I sit on the porch all alone as I look out across at my beautiful lawn. The house is quiet, there's no children that play, and I said to my wife, honey, if you'll listen real close, you can still hear her say,
It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back. It'll come back. It'll come back.
we'd just finished our dinner and I'd gone in the den and turned on the TV when she walked in and kissed me on the cheek like a million times before. And she said, honey, I know it's late, but if you don't mind, my shopping's gotten a little behind, so I think I'll drive downtown to the grocery store. Well, I didn't look up, just nodded okay and asked her to hand me an ashtray. And when she did, I reached over and squeezed her hand, and then she left. And I shuddered a minute at the thought of my world without her in it. And I reassuringly sought the touch of my wedding band. Well, I must have been dozing, 'cause I didn't hear the door, and I thought, now that's strange, I'd never done that before. But I looked up, and she was standing by my chair. Kinda snuck in on me, I said, and she smiled and nodded her head. And I told her that she looked just like an angel standing there. For a long moment she didn't say a thing, and then she caressed her gold wedding ring, and I thought I saw a teardrop in her eye. Honey, you'll never know how much I love you, she said. And I thought of the many years that we'd been wed, as I told her that no one could be as happy as I. And then the strangest feeling filled the room, not one of happiness, but one of gloom. And for the first time in my life, I saw sadness in her face. I reached out to touch her, and she drew away. And she told me again that ours was a love that time could never erase. And then I thought I heard 1,000 voices singing, but I realized it was the telephone ringing. And that's when I saw the halo surround her pretty golden hair. I turned trembling to the receiver and heard a cold voice say that there'd been a wreck out on the highway. And I knew that when I looked back, she wouldn't be there, because it was an angel's way of saying our last goodbye.